For my demonstration speech, I'm going to be demonstrating and going through the process of shooting a compound bow, which is a bow like this. A compound is one that has cams on it, which are these that rotate when you pull the strings back. Recurve is just one piece all the way through from the handle all the way up to the limb, almost makes like a U shape, but not that severe. So, bow hunting has been a huge part of history for a very long time. It was one of the earliest ways of hunting. Indians did it way back when they hunted and were very prominent in this country. So, I mean, you see the Western movies and stuff. You see them riding on horseback, shooting bows, and there's people that can do that still. I am not one of them. So, for the components you're gonna need, well, you're gonna need a bow. This is my bow. It's a 2017 Mathews Halon 32.6. It's their flagship bow. So this is a pretty up to standard bow, but you can get one. My first bow was a $200 one from Dunham's. So, I mean, it just depends. It's just getting into the sport and doing what you love to do. So what you're gonna need is the bow. You're gonna need some arrows, which are these. Now you gotta make sure they're for your draw length though. You can't have a 25-inch arrow shooting out of a 30-inch draw length. So once you have the right arrows and your bow, you're also going to need a release, which is this little piece right here. This one works. Set my fingers in there like that and click that, and this little notch will flip up and allow the string to go forward. You're going to need a sight. I use a peep. You don't always need a peep, but when you pull the string back, you look through there and then focus on this sight housing. I have a stabilizer on mine. All it does is help stabilize the bow so it's not front heavy or back heavy, and then takes a little bit of vibration away. And then you need a rest. This is my rest. The arrow sits right in this V. So that's all of your bow parts that you're gonna need. And one more thing forgot about is these are broadhead. These are what you hunt with. You need field tips for practicing. So once you have all that stuff, that's going to be just mainly for the bow. Then you're going to have a target. So this is the target I shoot at. It's just a deer target. It's pretty small. I like it because it reenacts where you're going to place the shot on a deer when they come in. So once you have all of them parts, you're going to want to get your range set up. So if I want to shoot at 20 yards, then I will go and shoot. Then I will do 20 paces, which I've got my paces pretty much set up for how I want to shoot. So you go out there 20 yards, set the target up, make sure there's nothing behind it that if you miss a target you could hit, and then set it up and come back to your bow. And you see these little pins right through here. Those are where your like yardages are. So my top pin is a 20-yard sight. So at 20 yards, that top pin hits exactly where I want it to. You got to make sure that, I mean, you're not going to be able to dial them in right off the bat because you have to shoot first. But I mean, just trying to get them close and relatively to where they need to be, guessing wise, so you don't completely miss the target. And when you're going to sight them in after you're shooting and shooting and shooting at this target, you want to follow your arrow. So if you guess where it's going to be and you're like, well, that might be it, and you shoot and it goes way high, then you want to follow your arrow, meaning that you move the pin or the whole sight housing up. So if it hits high, it goes up. If it hit low, you go down, and so on and so forth. So that'll help you dial it in. I get mine pretty close to like as perfect as I can get them, because that way there's no questionable things that come up when you're hunting or in that circumstance we need to make a perfect shot. So after you've got the range and your sight and everything where you want it to be, then you're going to want to get ready to shoot. So when you get ready to shoot, make sure that there is nothing that can be at chance. Like if there's a building back there or anything that you could possibly hit, you want to make sure you can't do that. So we have a few dogs that run around here, and they run outside a lot. So I always put them in the house, make sure they can't run in front of me. We actually have a dirt hill back behind me to my left, your right, that I usually put my targets in front of, so if my arrows go high or low, sticks into the dirt, no problem. So even if you're missing, arrows don't really tend to go that far because they don't shoot like a rifle and straight like this. They loop, so they're going to end up in the ground sooner or later. It just depends where you can find them. So once you get back to your target, you've made sure, you're positive that nothing is behind it you can hit and hurt. So you go back and you're going to get ready to shoot now. All right, so now what do you have to do? Now, the D loop where you attach your release to pull your string back, you take the nock of your arrow and you put it right in the D loop, just like that. Click it on. So once that's on, you can then put it on your rest. And this one, I flip my rest up and it stays. See how it stays in there? No movement. But actually, when you shoot, the string will pull it down straight up so it's perfectly where it needs to be and go and fall down after you release the string. So now that you've got your arrow in there, you want to take a shoulder width apart stance is what I do. Helps me be the most stable. Grip the bow like this. You don't want to death grip it because it'll cause you to torque it and turn it when you go to shoot. You can do this, or I do it like this. But you just want to make sure that you don't put your fingers up to where they can get in the way of the path of the arrow. So once you got that, you got your grip where you want it to be. If my target is this way, I want to be facing almost straight away or 90 degrees from it. That's just helped me be the most accurate I can be. So in a practice situation, I would start the bow up here and pull down to right here. That just is the easiest way that I've found for me to shoot. I mean, I'm still pulling 65 pounds, which it's a lot, but it's not. So when you come down, you can rest. I lock my release right here on my jaw and look through the peep, look through the sight, make sure I got it where I want it, and release the trigger off. You don't want to punch it real quick, you want to squeeze it off real nice and easy. Now, if I was in a hunting situation, straight back, no movement, because deer are very vigilant and they see a lot of things that you wouldn't even think they'd see. So bow hunting is a very easy way to get into the outdoors and really enjoy it and focus to them. I love being outside, and it's one of the greatest things there is for me.